So welcome back. We are talking to Mr. Debnath about the problems. ब्रेक लेने का ठीक है ठीक है
हो गया ठीक है चलो
सर आपको उधर देखना है और उसके बाद कैमरा में ब्रेक ले लेना।
रेडी?
तो देवनाथ जी आपसे ये बातचीत जारी रहेगी। कुछ एक छोटा सा ब्रेक लेते हैं और आपकी जो और मांगे हैं उसके बारे में हम जरूर सोचेंगे थोड़े ब्रेक के बाद। हम बात कर रहे हैं मिस्टर देवनाथ जी से, जो है नेशनल फिश वर्कर्स फोरम के अध्यक्ष, और वो बातचीत कर रहे हैं उनकी शिकायतें, उनकी दिक्कतें, उनकी कठिनाइयों के बारे में। आप जाइए नहीं, दोबारा आइए, हम बातचीत जारी रखेंगे। मैं हूं सुरेश प्रभु, आपके आने की इंतजार कर रहा हूं। मैंने शुरू हिंदी में ही किया था।
हाँ तो इंग्लिश में लेने के लिए बोला है सर।
So we'll continue talking to you, Mr. Debnath, about the problem that you're facing, but just we'll take a short break. This is a program in which we are talking to Mr. Debnath about the problem the fishermen are facing all over the country on the coastal regions. 37 lakh people are doing fishing and they're facing problem. We'll continue talking to him. Don't go away. Come back soon after a short break. This is Suresh Prabhu waiting for you to come back. Welcome back to this program, Top Shot. We are talking to Mr. Debnath, the president of National Fish Workers Forum. Mr. Debnath, you, in the course of fishing, people must be going deep sea, and they may not be realizing, because unlike the borders that we have on the land, we don't know where they're going. So do you face any problems of transgressing into the sea borders of other countries? And
very often it happens. Recently, for some few years it is happening that in the western coast, particularly in the Gujarat and Pakistan border, a lot of this kind of transgression takes place. Many of our fishermen get stranded in the other waters, and many of Pakistani fishermen also sometimes comes. A lot of factors are there. Similarly, something happens with the Bangladesh and India also. But Sri Lankan thing is a little different. There is other kind of insurgency and all in Sri Lanka, so they are scared about everybody. So any Tamil fisherman going to the sea, they cannot make the difference whether it is a Tamil fisherman or anything else. They shoot at us. That is
shoot.
Yes, every month there is not even 1 month in the calendar where there was not 1 or 2 killing of India fishermen by
innocent
Sri Lankan
fishermen.
Navy. Innocent fishermen.
Genuine fishermen.
And that is a big problem for us over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It is recurring every month. That is in the Sri Lanka side. But in the Pakistan, between Pakistan and India, it is so happening that a lot of Indian fishermen, number of them, more than 500 of them are still languishing in Pakistan jail.
For how long?
Some of them are even for 4, 5, 6 years.
4, 5, 6 years?
Yes. And in Indians and also some Pakistani fishermen
How
are there.
many in India?
Indian number is less, maybe 130 plus. That is what we are officially saying.
But Pakistan will say there are more?
They are claiming more. We don't know, but this is what is the figure we get. And it keeps on changing, of course. In between, some exchanges also takes place. They free 200 fishermen, we also free 200. This is very peculiar. It looks like an exchange of prisoner of war. What is this? We are demanding that this problem should be sorted.
How can it be solved?
It can be sorted. There are examples in the world. See, this is a common fishing ground. Of course, both of these countries are sharing the same fishery. Both of these countries can sit together and have a regional arrangement of fishing, and both of them jointly can give some kind of an identification to the fishers that they are not any illegal thing, and this can be sorted out. And there may be many other ways. And
Like what are the other ways?
like what other ways? Yes, see, if anybody fishes in the Indian fishermen fishes in Pakistan area, sometimes their complaint is that these people are intentionally going. Pakistan doesn't have a deep sea fishing. If Pakistan can be offered a kind of remuneration or a revenue for fishing a certain number of boats, that can be worked out. It is happening in many parts of the world.
It's like a market-oriented mechanism.
Yes. So that there is not this hitching. It is like something they say illegal. Even the UNCLOS, even United Nations Convention on Law of the Seas says that simply because of transgression you cannot, on passport violation, this is called passport rule violation, you cannot imprison a fisherman.
This is a convention.
It is a convention in
India signed it.
India is signed. India
Pakistan?
signed. Everybody.
So all our neighbors.
This is
have signed
legally
it.
binding.
So why? What is the problem? Because if there is a convention, why it cannot be followed?
Many conventions are there. It is not followed. A convention was passed in 1919 when the ILO was set. It is about 100 years now. Similarly, 12 conventions are there very much, which is.
So it remains on paper.
Yeah, it remains on
But
paper.
tell me, you represent the fish workers of India. Is there no such organization in Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh who represent the fishermen of that country?
Oh, there is. There
So
is.
you don't talk to them?
Not only talk, I am telling you by the by. You ask, that is why I am saying. We have a World Forum of Fisher People.
Yeah.
And we founded this organization in this city, New Delhi, in 1997.
Oh.
21st of November. That is how 21st of November is the World Fisheries Day.
Okay.
And I happen to be the General Secretary of the World Forum of Fisher
Oh.
People. That is how we are very friendly with Pakistani, Sri Lankan and Bangladeshi fishermen.
Can you not sign agreement with them on this?
It is not possible
No,
between
but-
two countries.
No, but just imagine,
Huh.
Karl Marx had said, workers of world unite.
Yes.
And he gave that slogan.
Yeah.
But workers of the world could not unite together.
Yeah.
There were many attempts. But can the fishermen of sea cannot unite?
Fishermen of sea are already united. The
But then what is the
problem
problem?
is that your nation state, this nation
But
state.
suppose you sign an agreement
Yes.
and you go to your respective government. You go to Indian government, Pakistan go to Pakistani, fishermen go to Pakistani government,
Right.
Bangladeshi fishermen, Sri Lankan government, Sri Lankan fishermen go to their government.
Yeah.
And they say this is what we agreed. Who will oppose it?
Exactly, this is what we did, sir. All these four fisheries organizations, Pakistan Fisher Folk Forum, PPF is their name. And in Sri Lanka, the name is National Fisheries Solidarity.
Okay.
In Bangladesh, the name is Bangladesh Jele Federation.
Okay.
And we are here, National Fish Workers Forum. All of us together signed a joint petition to four of our governments and also to the SARC Secretariat to take this issue as a SARC issue and solve it that we share these fisheries, we don't fight each other, we don't languish in each other's jail. But the political decision has to come.
When did you sign it?
This is now 4 years.
Oh.
2004 we did it.
But actually,
And we are in good relationship with each other.
why not you actually take this issue when there is a new SARC summit which will take place next
Yes,
few months?
this time in Sri Lanka when it was the SARC was there, and we also submitted this one to that SARC summit. They have not taken it yet.
Do you issue identity cards to your own members?
Yes, we do.
Can the government not accept that because you are almost like a representative body of the fishermen? Can the government not accept this card?
Government can accept that very well, but at the same time, our fisheries
They have
department-
passport also.
Yeah, passport they don't need. Our government, state governments normally, in our coastal state governments, they issue an identity card to the fishermen. So they carry that one, and we give them as a member of our union. They don't need a passport because they are not fishing in any international water. They are fishing in our own water, sometimes inadvertently, sometimes because of the breakdown of the engine, because of some other reasons also, sometimes they may land up in other people. But normally they don't go. Those who are distant water fishing, that we don't have, they may carry passport.
So this issue of languishing in jail rather than being at the sea there in the jail can be addressed if we really work as some sort of a, this is the best form of cooperation between SAARC countries.
Yes.
If you really introduce this
Yeah,
particular issue.
Yes, true.
So I think this is something, and do you think generally, what do you think is the future of fishing in India because of all these problems?
Future of fisheries of India depends on how do we treat the fishermen and we treat the water bodies. If the water bodies are allowed to be intervened for other purposes, which is not hygienic enough for the sea or for the river, for the lakes, lagoons to sustain, then future is bleak.
But sea is the
And
only
for-
source of
yes.
fishing, or you also do inland fishing also becomes part of your membership?
Yes, inland fishermen, a number of them are our members in Bihar, along the Ganga, in UP, in Bengal and Andhra Pradesh. So what happens in the riverine fishers, most of the rivers are already dead or killed. See, so many barrages, barns, all these things happened that the natural flow has shrunk and the fish catch has gone drastically down. Many of the communities lost their traditional livelihood. But at the same time, aquaculture in the inlet sector has geared up. So new aquaculture ventures.
What
are
is your
coming
view
up.
on aquaculture as a institution, as an organization of fish workers?
See, aquaculture also has to be environment friendly. It should not be driven by the greed of a quick money. Then it will also destroy the environment and the water bodies and resources. The problem is, there also the traditional fishermen is marginalized. They are not given the guarantee of access to the water bodies. That is what the legislation we are asking for. That is not there. In some state governments, of course, by their own decision, they have given a kind of preferential access to cooperatives of fishermen to culture fish in any particular water body. Otherwise, mainly these are contractualized contractors, private contractors and private parties. They take the water bodies and they cultivate fish there. What happens? They go for the modified varieties, the hybrid varieties. So in the process, the natural stock is gone. Like our fish, like our seeds farm in the agriculture sector, like our seeds, all the hybrids are coming. Many of the seeds are lost. Same thing is going to happen to aquaculture also if we don't take care at a proper time.
You know, when you talk about this 37 lakh, 3.7 million fish workers who actually depend on fishing as the source of only income for them, are you not thinking of upgrading their skills because they may be doing only traditional fishing for so many years? You know, if the rest of the world is changing in terms of technology upgradation in all the sectors, even in farming now we are getting new technology. Do you think there is no need for fishermen also to acquire the new skills, acquire new techniques? Your cooperatives should be upgraded to a level whereby they can compete with multinationals, like it has happened in case of milk, for example.
Yeah.
Our milk producers are farmers, but they can compete in marketplace to any multinational. So don't you think there is a need to do that also?
See, I am not against that upgrading of the skills. And see, the natural skill and traditional skill is one thing. Okay, to catch more, to go further, you need some kind of engine, some kind of technology you need. That is all right. But technology upgradation also has to be very, very selective and very, very well judged. The thought should be to enhance the capacity of the fishermen up to a sustainable limit of the resources.
But that you can do because you yourself as an organization dealing with the interest of the fish workers, you can decide which is the appropriate technology.
But how can we decide? Because it is coming from the top.
No, but if that is one way of looking
Yes.
at it. But if you do it and you develop a technological parameters and you tell the government this is what we want,
Yeah.
you can oppose it.
Yes, we oppose and we offer alternative also. It is not that we are not telling it. We are also saying a genuine kind of community-based fisheries management is the future of our fishery. The communities should be given the right and the duty to manage the resources. Government should be as a facilitator only.
So you are not opposed to change. What you are saying, the change should be sustainable, change should be in conformity with the traditional practices that we have followed all these years and should protect the ocean. That's
Yeah.
what you are saying.
Yeah, that's what I was
So I
saying.
hope real voice will be heard one day
Yeah.
by others, because you are hearing the voice of sea for so many years. so many decades, so many centuries. Maybe this is a time that country, society as a whole must listen to your voice. And on that hope that we'll listen to your voice, I thank you very much for joining in this program. And I wish you all the best. And I'm sure you'll continue to feed the millions of people with the nutritious fish that you provide. So thank you very much for joining in this program. This was Mr. Devnath talking to us about the problems that the fishermen are facing. And I'm sure those who heard of it and those who eat fish have an obligation to make sure that his problems are properly addressed. And these are on this hope that we'll actually do that. I'm bidding you goodbye. This is Suresh Prabhu, thanking you for joining in this program.